And the container itself, this is the rubber pipe connection which will connect to the outlet of the screen to the rubbish bin below. So we will send that loose for you. The plant itself, here is the anaerobic, so there's the MBBR that we're sending with, which needs to be placed in the first aeration tank. So there's 5 cubes which has been loaded in the front there. This is the anoxic tank where we do our recycling. There's also recycling back to the anaerobic. I'll explain more about that now. So the sewage will come in. There's a hole, if you can see at the bottom there. So it goes and drains into the anaerobic tank. From the anaerobic through to the anoxic. It will then bubble up over here into the first aeration tank, which is over here. So this is our first aeration tank. Okay, you can see all the diffusers at the bottom. So the blowers will bubble air into there. Then this is now the second aeration tank, which has some recycling there, the anoxic recycling in the middle. And then we go off through to the lamella settler over here, which then goes into the panel room. So I will explain in the panel room exactly how the recycling works, and we'll take it further from there. Okay guys, this is your panel room. The doors will be closed, so the main doors will be closed and your access will come through from the gate. Let me take you inside so you can see the various pieces of equipment. Let me run through that first. So you have the 2 rust pumps, 0.75, the sludge recycle, which recycles from the settler. We have the anoxic recycle. We then have the air blower with a filter, which feeds through to the 2 aeration tanks, 1 and 2, with gate valves, pressure relief valve. We have our ozone machine over here, the recirculation pump with a filter, which is connected to the ozone retention tank. As that recycles, it pulls in the ozone from over here into the water, which recycles back into the tank. The ozone has a moisture removing unit with silica sand on the right hand side there, so that basically just recycles back into the ozone machine. And we have the flow meter over here. So the water from the settler that I showed above will come out over here into the tank. The tank's water will recycle and the ozone will be pulled in to disinfect through the venturi. There's a non-return valve over there. That's our sample and test point. We have placed on some stickers for you, just some danger stickers. And now I will go through the various valves and explain the rain gauge. So on the plant itself, the blower is always running. This will be on. The anoxic pump's always running. The sludge pump's always running. The circulation pump and the ozonator is always running. We have an ozone low level in a float that's sitting inside the ozone tank. So for whatever reason, if this is drained or someone opens up this bottom valve and the water goes out of this tank, the recycling pump and the ozone will shut off. Obviously the pump needs water to recycle. We've put in some 240 volt plugs, which allows for quick changing of any 240 volt pieces of equipment. This is our outlet, which will have just a socket, rubber socket for you to connect to. Our desludging pipe, glue in over there, and our drain sits at the bottom over there. So let me go through quickly the operations of the plant. Those are always open. Those are our main incoming valves. We have the anoxic recycle pump over here, which is where we take our samples. So once a week, we take our sample and our rain gauge. If the sludge levels, which is the bacterial levels, are higher than 60 mil, we need to do desludging. And I'll show you how that works, how to desludge from there. So the anoxic pump takes from the aeration tank back into the anoxic tank, which is the second zone from the top. That's for denitrification. I will put more information onto the manual. Then this is the recycle pump for the clarifier or the settler, where we recycle to two places. We recycle back to the aerobic tank, and we recycle back to the anaerobic tank. So when we start this plant, the aerobic bacteria is the most difficult to build up. So for the first month, until we've built up sufficient bacteria inside the rain gauge, I'm going to ask you to close the anaerobic over here. All right, let's close this valve, and I want you to keep this at a 45 degrees. At the end of the month, you can then open this up at 45. So that way we're putting all the sludge from the settler back to the aerobic tank. Okay. If you want to desludge from time to time, what I'll ask you to do is we will close B5. We will close, have a look there, B8. We'll close that. All right. And we will open up the desludging pipe. Okay. Once we've sufficiently desludged, maybe 10 minutes or so, and close that off again. We open up that one full, and we can put this back to a 45 degree, which is the anaerobic. So in this case, if it's for the first month, I want to close that, and we keep this one at a 45, so that we're recycling back to the aerobic. We've got the two gate valves, so that you're able to, if need be, and you need to adjust the aeration on the two zones, we've got both of those, and then a pressure relief valve. I would probably suggest for now, just that they'll be completely open. We want good bubbling, we don't want any splashing, and obviously we want the MBBR to be moving nicely. And there's our outlet. So our main outlet comes from the back there into the U, goes through the flow meter. The flow meter will give you some information. It'll give you the flow per second, and it'll give you a totalizer, which I want you guys to keep a finger on and write that down for us. The filter as well, you can keep an eye on that. It has got, let me open this up for you. There is a filter inside, so just keep an eye on this, and if there's any issues and this is blocking, one could always remove that filter. But let's see how that goes over there. Here's your drain. To connect is quite simple. Everything's been pre-connected, so that's the connection for the mains that you'll bring in, which will come in through the bottom here, up into the plant. Everything should turn on, the green light like that should come on, and everything should be placed up, and everything, all the overloads must be turned on. So that gives you an idea of the plant and the side of the plant over here. This is the panel for the screen and for the sump pumps, and there's 3 float switches are placed inside. So we have a low level duty cutout, duty start, and a high level alarm, which starts the second pump, the alarm. Basically we want everything on auto. Sump pump 1 on auto, sump pump 2 on auto, screen motor on auto. They are interlocked, so whenever a pump comes on, the screen comes on. We have an easy stop, and we have an auto and a pump 1, pump 2, which turns it only to that pump. So in this case we want it on auto. the sump pump 1 and pump 2 will flip-flop every time it's activated. So again, we haven't cut any of the glands. We're not sure exactly where the panel is going to go. So if you lift up, once it's connected, well it is connected, you lift up the low level duty start or the low level duty cutout, nothing will happen. The sewage will then lift up the middle one, it'll start the first pump. When you lift up the third float, that's our high level, it'll kick in the second pump and set off the alarm. Once the levels go back down again, the alarms will stop. So this is how the sump panel works.